Firing coaches and GMs during the NHL season is not that uncommon. Often it's done with an eye towards the future, trying to set a team up for success in a season that's already been lost, or trying to re-energize a team that has been underachieving. Usually there's some obvious rhyme or reason as to why a team made a move at the time that they did, which is why the recent firings of Brad Treliving in Toronto and Bruce Cassidy in Vegas are just so head-scratching. Because both of these firings, coming with just a few weeks left in the NHL regular season, were done for entirely different reasons, and neither of them seem to have much logic behind them. So let's go through both firings and why they don't really make sense, and we'll start with Vegas because that was the first firing. Bruce Cassidy was fired as head coach of the Vegas Golden Knights after 4 years with the franchise, during which he delivered them their first and only Stanley Cup. At the time of his firing, Vegas was still very much in a playoff spot, though they had been on a recent slump, winning only one of their 7 games in the streak before Cassidy was fired. But despite the poor results, as many have pointed out, the Vegas Golden Knights have actually had a strong period of play ever since the Olympic break. This is the team with some of the best underlying analytics in the NHL, while they're being let down by some of the worst puck luck that anybody has seen all year. And while many people are attributing this to Vegas just being their usual ruthless selves, in my opinion, this is just another in a long line of half-baked kind of massive swings that Vegas has taken over the last year, whether it's the Rasmus Anderson trade, signing Mitch Marner, and then playing him at center for some reason. Rather than just having patience and trusting in your process, Vegas sees that they're flailing a little bit and wildly overcorrects. And with John Tortorella of all people, I know that some folks are saying that it's only a couple of weeks left in the season, so Tortorella is not going to really have an opportunity to overhaul the system the team's been playing for the whole season, and he's just going to be a new voice in the room. But my question is this: if that was the case and you didn't want to change the system, so you wanted a new voice in the room, why not just fire Cassidy and promote one of his assistants or the minor league coach? If you're bringing in John Tortorella, do you really think that he is just going to be fine with the players playing the same system that he was brought in ostensibly to fix? No, he's going to want to have them play his way, and maybe that won't be massive structural changes, but it's going to be a massive change in mindset as to how they play with and without the puck. And for a guy who has as big an ego and as big a personality as John Tortorella, is that really the shakeup that you want to make a few weeks before the season ends? That's the other thing that's insane about this. They didn't make this change halfway through the season with Cassidy. If you weren't sure about him during the season, that's fine. You can make a change. But when you're a couple of weeks out from the end of the season and the start of the playoffs, to me, that is the worst time to make a big change like this. And speaking of making huge changes, just a day after this shocker, the Toronto Maple Leafs went out and announced that they were firing Brad Treliving, their general manager. Just him, not Craig Berube. Apparently his fate will be decided by maybe the GM, maybe the new president of hockey operations. If you watch CEO of MLSE Keith Belly's press conference the day after, you can tell that there's been absolutely no planning going into this decision. It is clearly by the seat of their pants. And while you could say that the vote of confidence in Berube was just to get through the end of the season and the new GM will be able to pick whoever they want, that also would have been the case whether or not you fire Treliving now or once the season ended like normal teams do. And please don't give me the BS about wanting to get a head start on the process early, because you don't know what other GM candidates are going to be available from other teams. Some of them will be managing teams that are in the playoffs. Some of them will be waiting to see their fate once the NHL season ends for their team. It really wasn't a benefit to doing this early, but what you've done instead is sown seeds of dissent within the front office as to who's going to remain and who's going to be gone. And as a result, you can expect a lot of leaks to be coming out of that building over the next few weeks until a new president and GM are brought in. And while it might be seen as a kindness to just give Brad Treliving his walking papers now, let him get a head start on his next opportunity, you're just signaling to the rest of the hockey world that this is a franchise that is in disarray. But with their lack of young talent and marquee players who are going to need extensions in the near future, along with a high-pressure media market and fan base, there was no need to add dysfunction as another potential reason for a candidate to back out of consideration for the position.